one of the things when I first met you, I was always like, oh, I love the name Eager Beaver. It's so Canadian. It's very catchy. I love the hats. I love the logo. And I thought this is something that like, John came in and says, hey, Dad, I'm taking over this company. I'm going to rebrand this and market it. But this is, when I go on your site, like this is a brand name for a very long time and a look that's been around. So, I love that about it. And I love how you guys have taken it to a whole other level. But there's two parts that I want to touch on when it comes down to how you do your marketing. One is on your site, you have a shopping page, which I think most moving companies should have some type of shopping channel on their site so that they can obviously sell moving supplies, because a lot of people, when they phone, they just sometimes think, oh, they do packing, they do moving, they do storage. A lot of the times they don't realize, hey, no, you can actually just buy supplies if you want to do your packing ahead of time. So it's great to have it on your site, which you do. And I love how you have that set up. But also you do an engagement with people like customers of yourselves or people that want to follow a newsletter by having some collaborations with I guess designers and stuff. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because I feel like I like how you have that on your site, offering, a collab with like designers or other industry leaders. So how did you think about that for your company, and how did you evolve into even like doing a collab with like a local brewery?
Right. Yeah. So the newsletter idea. Well, first of all, I was a client of Moversville. Fantastic email marketing company. Lots and lots of us on the page
Nice.
use them. But there was just this one funny time where they accidentally sent out, and I don't know if a lot of you Americans know this, but Thanksgiving in Canada is a month earlier than it is in the States. And my entire email list got a Happy Thanksgiving newsletter in November. Thanksgiving is in October. So, of course, I freaked out because I was thinking, oh, my God, everyone's going to think I'm an American company disguised as a local business. So, to his credit, like, phoned up Tim and, they sorted it out real quick. But and that wasn't the reason I left Moversville, but it did get us thinking about it and thinking that like we really wanted to make the content even more personal to Eager Beaver and Edmonton rather than just, using, the content that's created that, gets inserted in newsletters across North America for their clients. So my office manager, she's super creative, and she's the one that kind of conceived of the idea. And it's a lot of work to put it together, but essentially, there's two different publications that come out. One is just a quick message from John every month, and that just is a short, sweet kind of like, this is what we're working on. If it's fall, we're talking about this, and if it's spring, we're talking about that, and all this stuff. Like just a little bit about me and my personal life and what I'm doing, just so that, our customers can sort of, have a glimpse into like what the owner of the company that they're supporting is doing. And, it's good to have stuff about your family. Everyone loves a family, man, right? Like, I swear, I don't think I would have made it anywhere in business if I didn't have a family.
Right. Oh, yeah, I agree.
Really, like, you don't put up with this shit if you're single and, out partying all the time. You do it for your family, I think. So, and then the other part of the newsletter is a little bit longer. And yeah, like we always do, what's new at Eager Beaver, and then, a little collaboration with the local designer. And we just thought it was an attempt to connect with a service provider in Edmonton that's, working in the home services industry, just as a chance to like create a little bit more of a tighter relationship between us and them. And also just like use our platform to, let people know about their service.
Sure.
and it's like a symbiotic little gesture that we do with, like, it could be realtors, it could be plumbers, it could be designers. It was challenging to, like, some people jump all over the chance and they're really quick with responses, and like they'll write something up for themselves, and then others, like, they're like, yeah, let's totally do this, and then it's like pulling teeth trying to get stuff out of them. So it's been good. I think it did sort of like set us apart, but it is a lot of work. So
and are you using like a platform like MailChimp, or how are you going about this?
Yeah,
so use something like MailChimp, and then also, are you getting the emails through your CRM system?
What do you mean? Sorry.
Like how are you getting the emails to send off on the? Oh
mail? Yeah. How am I getting the new client? Yeah, all our past clients. I mean, I use Smart Moving, so
okay,
Mail has an integration, and
yeah.
So pretty much, and even people that just request a quote, I might be violating some anti-spam,
possibilities.
laws,
sure.
But like, I think MailChimp is pretty tuned in to, like, if people are like unsubscribing like at an alarming rate, like that's when they start, punishing you, right? Isn't that true? I don't know. That's what I'm
so. Possibly. Yeah. I think so. Have you found a good response rate by doing these letters?
Yeah, like, I think more than anything, it's the past customers that might have forgotten about you, and then all of a sudden they get this, and they're like, "Oh,
nice.
My friend's moving."
Right.
But yeah, like, I'm sure we have. I don't look at it, so I don't have it on the top of my head. But like, we have stats on where our business comes from, and it's definitely down the list, probably near the bottom of of where we get our moves from, compared with like repeat referral. Because most people, like, if it's a repeat customer, they're not going to say like, "Oh, your newsletter," but repeat customers are definitely like a huge part of our business. Like,
and they're gonna see that newsletter all the time as well too. So it's keeping your, basically what you're doing is keeping yourself top of mind as well too. And I like how you have like the letters that are from the owner, and keeping it
I mean,
interesting and engaging.
I'm really uncomfortable with that stuff, because I'm not gonna lie, I don't write that. If it was up to me to write that stuff, it would never get done, because I'd be too like self-conscious about it.
Right.
So I just try not to look at that email. She'll ask me like, "Oh, hey, what's new this month?" And then next thing I know, it was in the newsletter. I'm like, "Oh,
I need an assistant like that. That's great."
Or something like that. And
right. What do you end up doing on your off time? Like, what do you like doing that when it's not worrying about moving? Because I talk a lot about like that work-life balance, right? And you were talking before, you got 3 kids. So, there's sometimes you don't have a weekend. Sometimes, it's run a company and then home, you're dealing with kids. So what do you try and do on your off time?
So the kids keep me busy. I got my younger 2 are in ski racing right now. And that's become a full-time job, like 2 nights a week, and then 3 hours on Sunday when they're in town. And then there's like 4 or 5 training weekends in the mountains. So we go to Jasper or Banff, or, we did went all the way to Panorama, like in BC, just after Christmas. So yeah, a lot of weekends out skiing with the kids in the mountains. And I mean, it's really great as a family trip, because, the young kids are actually spending most of the time with their coaches and their teams. So you can kind of do whatever, like ski or hang out. And then they're getting better without you having to like hold them down the hill. So,
sure.
They're being fantastic at skiing. And last weekend I was actually in Cold Lake, of all places, which, if you know the area, like, there's not a lot of hills. but they somehow found one and made a ski resort there, and there was a race. So spent Saturday and Sunday standing out on the ski hill watching them race.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah.
And is your wife also part of the business?
Yeah, like to an extent. She doesn't spend a lot of time in the day-to-day. I think it'd be more of like a strategic role. Like, I mean, her and I are just, she's really helped me, rein it in, and like, a lot with the vision and stuff too, and just, sounding board type of stuff. And then she's really social and like quite connected around town, whereas I'm like kind of an introvert. So I think, she's out there cultivating relationships with people in, home services industry, like designers and people like that. And so she's a social butterfly, unlike me. So I think that a lot of our sort of key relationships have arisen out of her, like networking and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Do you, now you were talking about like your vision, everything else. Where do you see Eager Beavers for 2024? Like, where do you see how the economy's going? You see the Canadian markets. I feel like Edmonton and Calgary are more booming than Vancouver. Everybody from Vancouver is moving out to Edmonton. So with home prices on the flux and interest rates, how do you see 2024? And where's Eager Beavers going?
Well, I'm really hoping to accomplish my sales target goal from last year that we didn't accomplish because of the downturn. Someone joked once when they were asked their goals in my kind of group of movers that I talk to regularly, and they're like, just do more moves and make more money. Like, ultimately, I think that's sort of what we're looking to do. But no, I mean, from we're looking at potentially opening a second location. I'm just kind of on the fence about it, just because, I mean, I've seen so many try it and fail. I'm not sure I'm prepared to want that kind of drama and, bullshit in my life. So, I think that we're still just trying to get dialed in here. Like, as much as it probably looks from the outside like, oh, Eager Beaver's got it going on. Like, no, we have the same problems as everyone else. It's just, better at hiding
it. Right.
So, just working on how to scale this thing little by little. Like, it's hard to do it all at once. You got to, hone your sales scripts, and, we're really focusing on our sales right now and marketing, because as great as it is to have, all your top referral sources being, repeat and referral clients, if you start to think about opening in a new market, well, guess what? You don't have any repeat clients, and you don't have anyone that's referring you. So you need to tighten up your marketing game. So that's kind of a big focus of ours right now, is just to like get that nice formula of like, if you did want to say enter a new market, like, how are you going to find new clients, right? What's our secret sauce? So that's kind of, that's what I sort of realized when closer we got to this spring. And, that was on the vision board, was to open up in Calgary in the spring of 24. And I just realized, like, what, there's no rush. When we're ready, we'll be ready, and I don't want to do it and then have to shut it down or just squander a whole bunch of money and goodwill. Everything we've done so far has generally worked out. There's been a few failures, but yeah, that's
what would you say is one of those failures, like, for those people listening, like they're they're in a moving world and they want to try and maybe expand to another location, or they're trying to grow their business. What would you say was a failure that you guys tried and it just totally shit the bed?
So the number one failure was actually, I can give you two.
I'll take
one
two.
Person together. So one, I'm always like kind of surfing the net looking for like cool new shit that has to do with the moving industry. And I came across these these storage containers. They're called flat pack containers. They're built in Turkey. So like European product, and they're really cool looking. And you can get them in any color and like all these different sizes. And they seemed like fairly cheap actually. So I contacted them, just for fun, because they look a lot better than vaults, like in the warehouse. So I was like, oh, these things would be deadly. I could get them in green and everything. So I contacted them, and they're like, oh, yeah, we're actually looking for a distributor in Alberta. I'm like, oh, cool. They're like, yeah, so like if you want to be a distributor, all you got to do is buy one container load, and you get, the rights to your territory, which was Alberta, right? So I kind of hummed and hawed. Like I had actually talked myself out of it, but my team really loved the idea. So I talked myself back into it and ended up placing an order, and it was like $100,000, right? For these storage containers. And they arrived in January of last year, 2023. And I didn't sell a single one.
Oh, no.
I've got $100,000 worth of, and then we had to move yards. So I actually had to spend a bunch of money to haul them to a new yard, and they just have sat there. And it was one of those things don't get distracted by shiny objects. And I allowed myself, and I knew it, I had talked myself out of it, but then I just got talked back into it. I was like, oh, well, storage, we provide storage, but what we don't do is sell storage units. We don't sell any retail products. We sell a service. And, ultimately they're just a really nice looking sea can. And turns out that, well, you know what? There's a guy in BC that's actually doing a fantastic job selling a ton of these things. But, that's all he's focused on. He's got a storage facility, but he's really pushing hard. And you know what? We needed to focus on moving and storage last year because as a service, because it was tough last year. And even just, we didn't hit our goals. We managed to equal our revenue from 2022, and I was thrilled with that. Everyone's talking a 30% downturn.
I was just going to say, most of the people in the industry that I talked to were down 20, 30% easy in cross Canada.
So we had to grind it out to do that. And that meant that these stupid containers that we bought are, so I'll probably, I always told myself, if it doesn't work, I'll just build them and use them right in my yard. And I'll probably do that this year.
Right.
And then the other quick one was just, when I got into portable storage, I was like, I got the mule system, as great as it is, it's very slow and inefficient. And realistically, a guy can only get maybe 6 to 8 deliveries done per day. Maybe if he's really good, 8 to 10, but it'd be a hectic day for him. So, and I was so caught up on eliminating manpower and inefficiency. So I was I bought this cheap flat deck truck from Ontario. And then I bought a forklift that, I'd been looking for a forklift that could lift the fully loaded containers for a while. And I finally found one, but it was pretty ancient. And I didn't anticipate that it wouldn't fit inside our warehouse bay because it's so tall.
Oh, no.
So the thing is, basically, it never starts in the winter. And just realize it's actually not saving that much to preload the flat deck with a container and send that out, because the guy, the operations are in different locations. And so anyways, just buying that truck and the forklift was a total bust, another $100,000. So, I'd have $200,000 in my pocket if I hadn't gotten, sometimes when you're feeling flush with cash, you make bad decisions.
So anyone that's listening, go reach out to John, Eager Beavers. If you have a great deal for about $100,000, that's, I think, his threshold, and he will invest.
Well, no
problem.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
I get that cash comes out of my bank as it grows. It's just into money market funds, just at 5%, which I know that'll come to an end eventually. But I keep my bank balance low. I used to just let it build up and then I'd just be looking at trucks.
Well, I think that's the problem. it's always one of those things as a business owner too, is you really have to hone in on what your objectives are,
Yeah.
because those shiny objects are so easy. It's like we're all a bunch of just like little kittens with that little
Mhm.
red laser thing, and we're just like where's it going? Like what's happening, right? Like
Yeah.
something shiny is looking at us, and we just kind of want to jump on another opportunity that usually expands, right? In the moving world, what do people look at? They look at junk removal, cleaning. Um, what else was the other ones? Junk cleaning, different pack services, storage totes, right? Like the type
Yeah.
of
Those
rent
are, yeah.
rates as
Yeah.
well too, right? I should invest into those as well. What different avenues can I get into that are all related into moving, like even like the mobile storage units, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's a lot of temptation out there. And honestly, I mean, some people can pull it off. It's just, we didn't. And, um, whatever, I'll own it. I mean, it's only.
No, it's great. And you know what?
It
And
is
for
just,
those that are listening, like it's a great learning curve to, make sure you're trying to do your market research, check and see. And sometimes, the easy answer that you think is correct is sometimes not always the right path to go down.
yeah.
And I've been there, done that as well too. So in my career, to wrap this up, John, the floor is yours. Me and you jump into an elevator. I'm looking to move. I'm moving from, let's say, Calgary to Edmonton, and I'm looking for a mover in Edmonton to help me out. And I run into you in the elevator. Give me your pitch.
Oh, man. Yeah, I knew this was coming because, well, no, I didn't know it was coming from you, but it's something I should have worked on a long time ago. But yeah, so Eager Beaver, we've been around for over 30 years. It is a family-owned business. We're the only company in Edmonton that has over 1,500 reviews and still have maintained a 4.9 rating on Google. So, obviously customer service is our number one focus, and that's the way it's always been, and that's the way it's always going to be with us. So, yeah, that's all I got. I mean,
That's great. You know what? And I really want to reiterate this for anybody listening, especially in the moving game. We're talking 1,500 Google reviews, not 15, not 150, but 1,500 Google reviews that this company has been able to obtain through really pressing on getting customers to write those reviews. And congratulations. Like if I was wearing a hat, I'd tip my hat off to you, John, because I struggle all the time with my movers to say, hey, try and get a Google review, or even our customers. It's like, everybody loves to write a bad review. When something bad happens, it's so much harder to get a good review in. And for you to accomplish that is absolutely amazing. So for anybody that's looking to relocate to Edmonton, it is a nice city. Please don't think that it is just an ice box of a town, and that it is the Texas. Well, I guess it's Calgary more, right, of Canada. But yeah, it's definitely check out Eager Beavers. If you haven't checked out their website, it is eagerbeavermoving.com. John, it's been an absolute pleasure. Please, for those listening and those watching, like it, subscribe to it, check us out. This is, I have to call it almost the Canadian edition of Movified, with two Canadians chatting it up. And thanks so much for your time.
thank you so much for having me, Mark.